Medicinal plants constitute an important forest resources and a natural resources that is important both for the point of economy as well as ecology for the nation. Medicinal plants are represented in various plant families across both dicotyledonous and monocotyledonous plants of the angiosperms. It also includes various gymnospermic or non-flowering plants and also various ferns or pteridophytes that are essential for medicinal treatment. The use of medicinal plants for various ailments and treatment has been a traditional practice in many countries including India that has given rise to one of the most famous treatises of medicinal treatment like the Ayurveda in India, traditional Chinese and Tibetan medicine, traditional African and South American or Latin American medicine from around the world. India, being a mega biodiverse country, represents a significant number of medicinal plants and has a rich history and heritage of medicinal plants being used in various communities across north and south or east and west length of the breadth of the country in treating various ailments from very ancient period. Even till date, Ayurveda finds to be one of the very important source of medical treatments in various parts of the nation. It's still very affordable and is easy to operate, and it is accessible for a large community members of this country where modern medicine is either not available, accessible or affordable by the ordinary people. Even the United Nations have suggested in several of its treaties that alternative medicine that includes Ayurveda, homeopathy, naturopathy, Siddha, Unani and Ayurvedic base of treatments are an important source of medication and support for a vast populous countries like India, China and also several developing countries in Asia, Africa and Latin America where allopathic medicine is still not accessible, affordable and approachable by large number of communities. In India, the medicinal plants are extensively used and has formed a traditional knowledge base with various tribal communities spread across the country. Every tribal community in this country has their own resources and a wealth of knowledge which they have been using for thousands of years for treatments of various ailments by their respective medicinal men or women. These traditional medicinal men or women are extremely knowledgeable in over hundreds of medicinal plants, their location in the forest, their growing season, when and how to harvest them, how to use them for various treatment of various ailments, and even how to protect them. It is sad to mention that many of these traditional medicinal plants that are being used in various medical treatments are not so easily accessible to these days because only a very few medicinal plants are commercially cultivated. India, including the state of West Bengal, has many natural gardens of Ayurvedic or medicinal plants conservation purposes where they are grown in large numbers. Unfortunately, most of these places are not focusing on the multiplication or the cultivation of the medicinal plants. It may be quite alluring to know for ordinary people that it is not easy to grow medicinal plants on cultivated form like rice or wheat as we are so commonly associated, or like vegetables or ornamental plants. The reason behind the failure of commercial cultivation of medicinal plants is predominantly the fact that we know very little about the commercial agricultural inputs necessary for successfully growing various medicinal plants. We rarely have information on the type of the soil, their pH conditions, nature of their agroclimatic regions, doses of fertilizers, pesticides, insecticide or biofortification, biofertilizers, all other associated parameters that are necessary for acclimatizing this crop towards commercial cultivation and successfully growing them. China is the world's largest supplier of medicinal plants, but it has not been going good in supplying these plants to the Western countries where many shipments of Chinese medicinal plants has been rejected due to poor quality of preservation, infection by fungus and bacteria, and also because of adulteration. India, being another large country where medicinal plants are available in huge numbers, has the potential to transform and take this opportunity and become the global hub of supporting medicinal plants to the entire world. Not only the pharmaceutical industries, but also the nutraceutical and functional food industries around the world are looking for a steady supply of various medicinal plants from India and China. Unfortunately, in India, as well as in other developing and underdeveloped countries, medicinal plants are not commercially grown. Or in other words, only a handful number of medicinal plants are actually grown. The vast amount of medicinal plants that is supplied in the market to pharmaceutical, functional food industries and nutraceutical industries are actually harvested from the forests or natural wilderness zones. People who are responsible for harvesting these plants are marginal poor forest residents or forest fringe dwellers or marginal farmers who do not have land and are exploited by middlemen in cultivating or in harvesting these plants from their forest habitats indiscriminately without any knowledge skill. The consequence is this, that because of poor knowledge of harvesting process or the time of their flowering and fruiting, these plants are harvested indiscriminately from the forest. And as a consequence, their numbers are being depleted and denuded around the world. Not only medicinal plants, medicinal mushrooms or other medicinal herbs representing ferns, mosses, various medicinal fungi and algae, or are being exploited so ruthlessly from our natural environment that their numbers are going down considerably and many are being pushed now towards extinction. Around hundreds of India's 400 to 500 medicinal plants available on natural habitats are almost facing the danger of extinction, with no care being taken in the conservation of these plants as well as collecting and documenting their information for future generations, as well as losing out them. We do not even have enough data or information to identify which species are almost pushed towards being critically endangered or almost threatened in the wild. We are only happy with the small number of plants that are grown commercially or are being easily harvested from the forest, but still at large there are many medicinal plants that grow on the high canopy. There are many medicinal plants that grow on the sides of water bodies that are not being very well studied and well documented till this date, and needs to be documented properly so that we have a comprehensive data set of important Indian medicinal plants, their conservation status, their agricultural potential, their agricultural parameters, and how we could work towards in making them commercially successful. Why is it so important to make a large number of medicinal plants commercially successful is the fact that unless we spend time in identifying the agricultural parameters of growing these plants, we are never going to be able to identify how these plants could be grown in a large number under commercial setting. We will be continuously dependent in harvesting them from the forest indiscriminately, and as it is happening now, we will push these plants almost towards extinction. Many of these species have almost already reached their highest threshold level towards extinction, and we do not even have enough information on them. How these plants are getting, what are the anthropogenic factors which are responsible, what are the natural factors which are responsible for the elimination of these important medicinal forms from their wild habitats in various Indian forests. We are also not looking into the anthropogenic impact or how various tribal communities are also losing their traditional tribal men and women who are so extremely knowledgeable about various medicinal plants. There is less effort in documenting those research or their information in a systematic manner so that we can restore and preserve this information for our next generation. Many of these tribal communities have been extremely marginalized, have removed them from we have forced to be removed them from their habitats or their own lands, and then they have moved from their traditional life and moved into cities and towns. As these unfortunate people or marginalized people are moving into the cities and towns, we are also losing the opportunity to know the special knowledge they have about medicinal plants and document them for our long-term use. We are unable to interview them, we are unable to intervene and explain to them the importance importance of that knowledge. And unfortunately, based on our research reports, that we could see that these traditional knowledge is dwindling. There is not enough medicinal men and women among various tribal communities, or they have changed their profession because of lack of opportunities for them. In a sense that we are losing this information significantly in every generation. Care needs to be taken to retrieve those information from the tribal communities, prepare comprehensive database of Indian traditional medicinal plants, look into their commercial cultivation process, help them extensively in protection of these and the conservation of these medicinal plants to increase their number and prevent them from being extinct. Shoykot Kumar Basu, Bureau Report, Kalinga Chronicle TV.